Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. And today I'm going to give my review of King of the Ring 1996. Starting off the evening, we're going to go to our first match of the night. It is a King of the Ring semifinal match. It is Marc Mero versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought it was an okay opening matchup for King of the Ring 96. Back and forth matchup between Mero and Stone Cold Steve Austin, with Austin keeping the pace of the match. Mero hits a head scissors on Austin. Mero then hits a somersault senton on Austin on the outside. Mero then hits a hurricanrana off the top rope. Austin then gets up, hits his signature stunner on Marc Mero, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match and moving on in the King of the Ring tournament is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Hats off to Stone Cold Steve Austin for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is another King of the Ring semifinal match. It is Jake the Snake Roberts versus Vader. Again, I thought this was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Jake Roberts and Vader, with Vader keeping the pace of the match. Jake hits his signature DDT on Vader, but Vader gets up, ends up hitting the referee, and your winner of the match by disqualification is Jake the Snake Roberts. After the match, though, Vader attacks Jake Roberts, and then Vader ultimately hits a Vader bomb on Jake, injuring Jake Roberts' ribs. But, again, hats off to Jake Roberts for getting the win in that match by disqualification. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is for the WWE Tag Team Championships. It is the Godwins versus the Smoking Guns. I thought it was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with the Smoking Guns keeping the pace of the match. Billy Gunn hits a Famouser on Henry Godwin in the middle of the ring. Bart then hits Phineas with a boot. Referee doesn't see it. Billy then goes for the cover, pins for the 3, and your winners of the match, and at that time, still WWE Tag Team Champions, are the Smoking Guns. Hats off to the Smoking Guns for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is Jerry the King Lawler versus Ultimate Warrior. I thought it was an okay match. Back and forth matchup between Lawler and Warrior, with Lawler keeping the pace of the match. Lawler hits a pile driver on Warrior. Warrior gets right up, hits a shoulder tackle on Jerry Lawler, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is the Ultimate Warrior. Hats off to the Ultimate Warrior for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is Mankind versus The Undertaker. I thought this was a relatively good matchup. Back and forth matchup between Mankind and The Undertaker, with Taker keeping the pace of the match. Taker hits an old school on Mankind. Taker then hits Mankind with a chair shot. Mankind then gets up, hits a leg drop on Taker. Undertaker then hits Mankind with another chair shot. Mankind then hits a pile driver for a near fall on The Undertaker in the middle of the ring. Mankind then applies his signature mandible claw on The Undertaker, and your winner of the match is Mankind. Hats off to Mankind for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night as well. It is for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. It is Goldust versus Ahmed Johnson. I thought it was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Goldust and Ahmed Johnson, with Goldust keeping the pace of the match. Goldust hits a pile driver on Johnson in the middle of the ring, but Ahmed gets up, hits his signature Pearl River Plunge on Goldust, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match, and at that time, new WWE Intercontinental Champion, is Ahmed Johnson. Hats off to Ahmed Johnson for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is the King of the Ring Finals. It is Jake the Snake Roberts versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. I thought this was an okay matchup. Back and forth matchup between Roberts and Steve Austin, with Austin keeping the pace of the match. Austin was working on the injured ribs of Jake Roberts, and then Austin ultimately hits his signature stunner on Jake Roberts, pins him for the 3, and your winner of the match is Stone Cold Steve Austin. After the match, though, Austin cuts his signature 316 promo that he's most known for, that really set him apart in his career. It was a great promo. I think he had the promo with Doc Hendricks. It was a great promo. It actually gave birth, if you will, to the Austin 316 that we all know from Stone Cold Steve Austin throughout his career. So, pretty signature moment for Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm happy that he was the winner of the 1996 King of the Ring. Moving on from that, we go into our main event of King of the Ring 1996. It is Shawn Michaels defending the WWE Championship against British Bulldog. with special guest referee Mr. Perfect. I thought it was a good match. Back and forth matchup between Michaels and Bulldog, with Michaels keeping the pace of the match. Shawn Michaels hits a flying forearm on British Bulldog in the middle of the ring. Shawn then hits a scoop slam on British Bulldog, taking out the ref. But Shawn hits a sweet chin music on British Bulldog, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match, and at that time, still WWE Champion, is Shawn Michaels. A couple of things I'm going to say about King of the Ring 96, man, before I get out of here. Number one, personally, I thought this King of the Ring was not that good. Besides Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the King of the Ring final, that was about it. Mankind vs. Undertaker was another really good matchup, but the matches itself were really lackluster on King of the Ring 96. Jake Roberts versus Vader was a decent match. Vader ended up injuring Jake Roberts' ribs due to the Vader bomb. The WWE Tag Team Championship match between the Goblins and Smoking Guns was a decent match at best. And Jerry Lawler versus Ultimate Warrior, I don't understand why this was booked. And again, I feel like, in the mid-90s, Vince McMahon was trying to do everything he can to still kind of book Jerry the King Lawler, and Jerry the King Lawler still wanted some matches. But I just don't feel like it was needed, and he was better on commentary. I'm not taking anything away from Jerry the King Lawler's wrestling ability. He had a fantastic career, but at some point, you kind of have to call it quits, and I feel like Jerry the King Lawler will always, for me personally, be better on commentary than a professional wrestler. In my honest opinion. That might be a hot take for most people, but I feel like Jerry the King Lawler is a better commentator than he is a wrestler, in my honest opinion. But the two matches on this card for me that were the best matches of the night were obviously the King of the Ring finals between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Jake Roberts, and like I had stated earlier, Mankind versus The Undertaker. But if I had to give King of the Ring 1996 a rating from 1 out of 10, I'm giving it a solid 4, 4.5 at best. And honestly, it's based upon those two matches and Austin cutting that promo for Austin 3:16. That's the main reason why King of the Ring 96 is getting a 4, maybe a 4.5 at best. But this is my review of King of the Ring 1996. I hope you guys are out there staying safe, be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.